So this third video, and it's likely going to be long, to be a long video. So I'll lead them. I'll lead out the messages and try to respond as much as I can. Okay, so it reads. So my Peugeot 406 is pan Nigerian assembled 2000 model. I've been using it for 2 years plus now. About 4 months ago, the engine EW7 J4 was ringed. Car was working just fine after that. By working just fine, I mean the car was working just the way it was working before the ringing. No errors. ABS error has been there even when I bought the car from Nigerian user. Number 2, recently the timing belt cut, and so the valves bent and all that. It was fixed. New timing belt fixed, valves fixed, and all. Car returns to use. About 1 month plus later, I discovered the car had started smoking. Tremendous white smoke too. My mechanic said then the seller of the engine sold us an already ringed engine because it was the first time we did ringing on the engine, and barely 4 months later, white smoke has started. I ignored that and plan to replace the engine again before this year runs out. Maybe replace with half engine or block engine or skeleton engine or something, but to stop the smoking, I don't want to ring again. I want to replace. Okay, moving on. So number 3. So I have been managing the car like that with the smoking and with AC too. Sometimes the car would overheat, especially when I forget to gauge water level in the morning before I start using. Sometimes I forget to do that because I do school runs for my children in the morning before going out to work. So sometimes I forget to ensure that there is enough water in the water tank of the car. About 3 weeks now, I started noticing that the car was doing hard starting. That is, it doesn't start once. Sometimes I will have to try several times and pump before it starts. Sometimes in the course of trying, the battery will start draining fast. That's like 3 weeks now. I went to my mechanic and he checked nozzle, checked fuel, checked plugs, checked many other things in the car and said everything was okay. Yet I continue to experience the hard starting. I called my rewire engineer one morning when the car refused to start, no matter what I did, and he came and did a connection in the engine area and the car started. I went on using the car for another 2 weeks and everything was fine. After some time, it returns to hard starting again. Okay, moving on. So number 6, finally the hard starting became jack starting or something like that. You know, when you start a car and it feels like the bonnet and the engine area is almost falling off. It jacks seriously before it starts. I continue to manage it like that for another 1 week. Now, as I talked to you, I talked to you 2 days ago. I drove the car, took my children for school home, and then parked. Where I parked 5 minutes later, when I returned to the car will not start again. Tried everything, the hard starting became worse. How it behaves when you turn the ignition key, it starts responding like it's almost starting, but it won't start. Mechanic came, checked fuel, checked nozzle, checked plugs, it will not start. I check fuses myself as I usually do sometimes. It will start, but this time it would not. Okay, so moving on. So I called my wire engineer. He came and checked everything, checked fuses and all. Still car won't start. He then went to the brain box, checked, and did some wire peeling there, and did a few other connections there. Still the car won't start. They now said they need to use computer to clear errors and reset the brain box or something, and that's only when the work will work. I said, okay, so they bought their own PP2000 software or something like that on Windows XP and plugged it. The software recognized the car as 2000 model, even though I told them. Even though I told them when I bought the car, I was told it was 2002 or 2004 model, but they said the software was automatically dictated. It is 2000 model. I said, okay, so they continued, tried ECU global test and all that. Each time they tried that, the computer will report that the ECU has not replied. Every other thing they tried didn't work. ECU has not replied, that's what the software reported. So the wire engineer now said they must remove the brain box BSI ECU of my Peugeot 406, look for another Nigerian assembled Peugeot 406, connect my ECU BSI and the brain box on it and try to start it. If it works, then they will return the equipment to my car and it will work. I doubted them. They said the memory of my Peugeot has been wiped out. Said how? I'm a bit technical too, computer scientist myself. Although I know nothing about cars, I feel that the memory keeping the operating system for Peugeot must be ROM. That is the type of memory that cannot be cleared like that, because you can't clear it or change it. But to my greatest surprise, they said it is common experience. They see it in every day where the memory of the Peugeot 406 will just wipe off and they will need to reprogram it before it will work. I mean, allow me to laugh. Okay, let's continue. This is my dilemma now. I have not allowed them to remove the brain box, BSI, or ECU to do that. What do you think, Lion King? From my narration, do you think the issue with my car right now is as the wire guys have said? Should I allow them remove the ECU, BSI, and brain box, use it on another car before returning it to mine? Okay, moving on. I forgot to add, last week I packed my Peugeot 406 somewhere. I went to buy stuff from a supermarket, and when I returned, I saw many other 406 packed. So as I began to press my car remote control, I couldn't notice my car. Meanwhile, my car was parked far at the back, and it was responding as I pressed the remote control. So I went to another 406 park there, thought it was mine, and pressed the remote control. When it didn't respond, I used my key and manually opened the 406 door, only to discover the inside of the car to be leather and not my car. So I quickly locked it back, and then went searching for my own car, which I eventually found and drove. I don't know if that action has actually corrupted the program in the memory of my 406, and I don't know if that's where the issue of memory loss is coming from. Right now, my car is just parked, and the wire guys are waiting for me to give the go ahead for them to remove the ECU, BS, brain box, and the BSI, and try it another Nigerian assemble Peugeot 406. So this is my challenge right now, sir. Many thanks. Wow. I had this for one vehicle. It's kind of funny, but it's not like this is the first time I've read something worse. Anyway, I mean, I know what I see, but most times I go for inspection of cars when I'm inspecting cars for clients that want to buy. So okay, so I'll be responding one after the other because if I try to give it, it's going to mix up a lot of things. So I'll read and respond. Skip some. So you said my portfolio is PAN Nigeria 2000 model. No, it's not. PAN Nigeria 406 exceeded 2000. You'll likely find late. I can't really place the year, but we are looking at maybe from 2004 upward or something like that. So it's not. So in fact, it's likely your car is not even the so-called PAN. I can't say since I've not seen the car. It's just what you're saying, but it's not 2000. If it's truly 2000 production, there is no PAN Nigeria. It wasn't assembled in Nigeria. Okay, he said about 4 months ago, the engine EW7 was ringed, that's replaced. You change the rings on the pistons. Car was working fine, blah blah blah. Okay, so it was working well after you change the rings. Aside the ABS issue that was there even before when you purchased the vehicle from the previous Nigerian user. Okay, recently the timing belt cut and so the bars bent and it was replaced and everything went back to normal. Okay, then 1 month later he started smoking and you know, if you watch some of my videos or read some of my articles, I just tell people changing the ring. If you want to rebuild your engine, once it, okay, before I even talk about rebuilding engine, when it gets to a point when you start your car wait, let me even come. You say you changed 4 months, the engine was ringed. But what my question here is, what made you to replace the rings? What made you to replace the rings? I'm not talking about the timing belt now. Before you change the engine rings or the cylinder rings before the timing belt issue. So what led to or what made you to change those rings? Was the car smoking? Engine, was it smoking to the exhaust? Or was the oil consumption becoming too rapidly that the engine oil level drops very rapidly? So if it was smoking before, it means you are going back to what I have always been telling people. Once you get to a point, your engine has started smoking and the issue is from the rings, not like the valve or sales, not like the PVC on the cylinder head cover. Once you have started smoking and the cylinder is the cause, I'm talking about either the rings, the pistons, see, changing only the rings is a waste of money. Once you start smoking and it's from the cylinders, replacing the rings is like you are just burning that money. I don't care how long you think what happens immediately after replacement. You start the engine, you are no longer seeing smoke. Understand that once you get to the point you are saying that start smoking, it has gone beyond the rings. I don't know why people keep making the same mistake over and over. I understand some mechanics are quack and they will keep telling people, hey, don't worry, bring money, I'll change the rings, everything will be done. Once your rings wears out, you get to a point that you start smoking, it has gone beyond the rings, it has affected your pistons, your cylinder walls, not just those ones, even whatever that lead to that kind of issue on your cylinders or combustion chamber, let me leave it as cylinders. We're also looking at your bearings or your crankshaft, your camshaft, your other parts of the engine will also go bad, just like the cylinders. Because what usually causes those rings to fail and all that, the users of the engine, abuse or eventually engine will wear out, but not 200,000, 300,000 kilometers. It's supposed to go far beyond that, sometimes over 1 million mileage. So if it gets, if let's assume you are using bad oil, it will affect your cylinder, your rings. Your cooling system is abused, that your engine is running all cold all the time, your fan is connected direct, this and that, your no thermostat, it will affect your rings and kill it before you even say jack. What else? If you are the type that start your car in the morning when your engine is cold and you start pushing your RPM to the floor, driving very, very harsh when your engine is still cold, it will kill the pistons, your cylinders. And as it's doing, it's also affecting other lubricating parts in your engine. Your rings are also being lubricated as the engine is working. People don't, I don't, maybe people think it doesn't happen. It does. Oil part goes also helps to be, why the rings and the pistons are going up and down, TDB, BDC, bottom, dead center, all this stuff. Rings oil also as helps the rings as well as it's going up and down. So all these things. So if you get a point, you start to see. It means you have to be willing to rebuild your engine properly, which will cost so much compared to buying another one, or you simply buy another engine. That's why I wanted to point out, so you see where you made the first mistake in the beginning. Not saying buying another engine is a final solution, but it could be a better solution than wasting your money replacing your ring. There are also used engines, second-hand engine, Tokumbo or whatever, that are also were abused by the previous user or used harshly or already weak. You may buy them and it may even be worse than the one you put. But if you are lucky, you get a very good one. Or if you detect it on time, you can refuse, eject the engine, and a better one will be given to you. Okay, so that's mechanic said the seller of the engine sold, and after 1 month, I discovered the car started smoking tremendous white. But yeah, the rings they put has already gone because I can last when probably the cylinder walls, the pieces have also worn. So it just did try to reduce the consumption at the time you put it until it wears out fast again. Okay, my mechanic said the seller of the engine sold. I don't understand here because you didn't mention that you changed the engine before. So you're saying the mechanic said the seller of the engine sold one already ringed. I don't understand. Did you change the engine when you purchased the car before you now started smoking? So I don't know what that means. Whether the engine was links were replaced before and you did it the second time and you start smoking. Personally, it doesn't mean anything in terms of whether the engine was sold. If it was a Tokumbo engine, how would the seller know that the rings were replaced before in the Western world? How will you know? They are not like Nigerian that they will open up your engine and will use like fake head gasket and all that. So you can probably may not even know that your engine has been opened up before. So in that case, unless you bought a Nigerian used engine, anyway. So yeah, what you're saying here that you decided you are done with replacing the rings, that you want to change the engine, whether you're buying only the engine or complete. Actually, the engine is that too called skeleton. That's what is actually the engine. Every other thing on top, they are mostly accessories. This alternator, this and that, ignition coil, blah blah blah. They are all accessories. But the engine is that one we call skeleton. Okay, moving on. So I've been managing the car with the smoke. When I forget to gauge water level, sometimes I forget to do. Okay, whatever that's causing the fluid loss in your engine or cooling system, probably has a leakage somewhere. So that could be the cause of the overheating. But of course, you're not supposed to use water. It's supposed to be at least coolant or mixture of water and antifreeze. Whatever. Anyway, that's not important. or in this conversation, or in this case. About 3 weeks now, I started noticing that the car was doing hard starting. That is, it doesn't start once. Hard start issue can be caused by a lot of things. Usually, the common culprit is the fuel pressure, which can be anything along the fuel delivery system. It must not be fuel pump. It could be fuel pressure regulator. It could be fuel filter. It could be the fuel line. It could be the fuel uh, that assembly, that case. It could also be the fuel pump. So a lot of things can cause low fuel pressure, which will give you hard start every morning or once the engine is cold. So your mechanic check, but the issue remained. Yeah, like I told you, it could be anything, or it could be something else. But this is usually the common culprit, low fuel pressure. Then other things can cause it, like CTS, coolant temperature sensor, if it's bad, but which 406 hardly do that on EW engine. It could, but I'm saying it's not a known issue with Peugeot 406. There are things like even wrong wiring connection can do that, abused wiring connections, and faulty engine ECU can also do that. So see, most times it's just as good as having the car properly diagnosed. He's saying he checked the fuel pump. How did he check that for? Did he check with the fuel pressure gauge to know the exactly what the pressure is? People rely, especially in Nigeria, they rely by looking at the flow of the fuel from the fuel line to tell you, oh, the pressure is okay. That's crap, as far as I'm concerned. You won't know the exactly until you put that gauge, fuel pressure tester, to know exactly if the pressure is enough to keep the what's it called, the fuel injectors to do their work. You may be flowing, but it may be quite low. The normal PSI is 50 for this EW engines. So anything less than 50 PSI, you'll be having hard start issue. Sometimes even loss of power. So just because he said the fuel pressure is okay by mere looking at it means it's okay. It's not enough. So the diagnosis was not complete. I called my wire engineer one morning. The car refused to start, and he did and did a connection in the engine area, and the car started. Yeah, once it gets to the point where they start doing bypass, cut and join to make it work, well, we are entering into a very big issue. Very, very complex. It start becoming complex, complicated. In that case, see, getting a scan tool is just a waste of time, because scan tool, once you start doing all these bypass, you're wasting your time. So scan tool can only assess or understands a few things. They didn't know Nigerians would be abusing cars like that, so they didn't design this scan tool to detect some of these bypasses and wrong connections that Nigerians do on these modern Peugeot cars. So this one, where he said he did one connection on the engine wire ECU, and the car started. Wow. Yeah, well, finally, hard starting became jack starting or something like that. When you start a car, it feels like the bonnet and engine area is almost falling off. I'm not sure I understand this one, but I know for EW engines like EW7J4, EW10J4, when the ignition coil starts to fail, sometimes if you start it in the morning, the engine will start. Not just in the mornings, just anytime you could crank the engine will start and start vibrating so badly. If you try to accelerate, you won't accelerate, you just be vibrating. Very, very scary one, as in the entire vehicle will be vibrating, shaking, and after a while, it will just be doing that. If you switch it on to go off, try it, you may do the second time, third time, the car may start and run normal as if nothing happened before. So that's how the ignition coil start to pack up most times. So I don't know if that's what you meant. Uh, he said 2 days ago I drove the car, took my shoes and returned to the car, and the car would not start again. Tried everything, as starting it became worse. Um, the Turned the ignition, but it won't start. Mechanic came, checked, said he tried to start. What I do know is, I don't know if your mechanic is actually good. He'll be able to tell if it's your timing. Um, like you said, you said if you have to, if you crank the engine, it will attempt as if you want to start, but it won't start. When your timing is off, it behaves that way. If your timing belt cuts sometimes, or when it hasn't cut completely, it behaves that way. But then it might not be timing. It could be low fuel pressure can do that. Um, Engine ECU can do that. So many things can do some of these things. So it's better properly diagnosed to know what the cause is. Change the fuse. Okay, moving on. So I called my wife. He then came, check the. Said they need to use the ECU to clear errors and reset the. They need to use computer to clear errors and reset the brain board. That's the engine ECU before it will work. Well, I could tell you that there are some errors. There are some errors which usually come up when there is a severe abuse on EW engine wiring systems. Well, there are some abuses that after a while it will shut down the engine ECU. You know, if I once the errors becomes too numerous, you just shut it down. It won't start the engine. So when you plug in a scan tool like PP2000, clear the fault, the engine will it kind of reboots. You act as if you booted the ECU, the engine will start. So yes, in that case, yeah, it happens. That's what I know. But like I said, such things usually happen when some abuse that will get a point. The engine ECU can no longer handle the errors that have accumulated on the ECU, so it will shut down until you reboot it, or more like reset it with a scan tool. Okay, so they bought their own PP2000, plug it in, and the software recognized the car as 2000 model, even though I was told it was 2002 or 2004. Yeah, well, I don't know how the person the technician that did this can probably, well, is telling you the truth or told you the truth. So I don't know. I can't say I'm not there. I didn't scan. I didn't. So he probably was telling you the truth. But that is not important anyway in terms of the cause of the astat and the issue you're having. But then this also will let it be an eye-opener to people who just go out there and buy a modern Peugeot car without getting an expert. I'm not saying mechanic. Look at all these mechanics that are messing up this car. I wonder why people rely on using them to go and inspect a car. Electrically controlled with computers here and there, littered all over the vehicle. Yeah, using a local mechanic that doesn't even know this and that to go and inspect a car to tell you if his car is worth buying or worth investing so much money to purchase. I don't know why people make this mistake. You know. So, how do you expect them to actually know the production year, the true production year? Get an expert, meet an expert, someone that understands everything in and out. Yes, nobody will know 100% of this thing, but you know, to a very large extent, someone that actually knows what he's doing, electrically, mechanically understand, and be able to interpret some of these things very well for you. I'm not talking about you now, I'm talking about other people, so that they won't go and make the same mistake you made or other people are making. Going out there blindly to go and buy cars themselves and end up with this kind of mess. Okay. Yeah, the ECU did the global test, everything. The ECU did not reply. Other things didn't work. Yes, when it depends on the issue. If the engine ECU crashes or fails completely, it will not respond when you try to scan it. It's as good as failed. The other things that power the engine ECU, depending on the wiring system of your car, whether it's VAN bus or CAN bus. The fuse bus, the BSM, powers the engine ECU for the CAN bus directly. The VAN bus forces as well have some positive supply from the BSM. However, this other one, what's it called? The injection relay on the VAN bus forces also controls or powers the engine ECU. But then if that one is bad, it will show you immobilizer fault. Likewise, dead engine ECU will also give you that symptom because the BSI will no longer communicate with the engine ECU, so to trigger that checking immobilizer sign. But then all these things, I don't even know if you are still running with factory or what they call virgin or free code. Probably they've already messed up the engine ECU before you purchase the car. So I don't even know if it's still everything there and the BSI, whether they are even still paired the way they are supposed to be. So the wire engineer said that they must remove the brain BSI ECU of pole look for another Nigerian assemble forces. Like I said, I don't understand what says. If the same person told you the car is 2000 production, unless the BSI there has been replaced. But you can't put a BSI, VAN bus BSI in a CAN bus forces, it will work, it will not work. So I don't know how if he's saying it's 2000 model, you shouldn't be talking about looking for Nigerian used forces. So unless that car was converted, if I don't know, this is just I don't know, because it doesn't make sense to someone that actually understands Peugeot systems. Doesn't make sense that you be saying this car is 2000 or has a 2000 BSI and you want to go and test it on a 2004 wiring 2004 wiring system. Come on. So I don't know where your technician is getting that. I don't understand. Then they will return the equipment to the car to know if they connect it. See, I don't know. Maybe every people have their own way of doing things. My point is, if the ECU cannot start in your vehicle and it will start in another person's vehicle, what do you think is the cause? Logically, you don't even need to go technical. It means the problem is with your car wiring system. It has nothing to do with the ECU. There's nothing like if you put it another way to start. Once you start another way to start in your own, what kind of crap is that? What determines your engine to start is your key BSI and the engine ECU, and then what transpires the communication between these components I just mentioned. So if there's an issue with the communication, talking about the wires, the fuse box, all those things, yeah, of course, it won't pass those, it won't transmit. So why would you put in another car to start and bring it there? You expect it to start again when it didn't start on this one, but it started on the other one. So what made it to start in the other one? They said the memory of my Peugeot has been wiped out. Said how? There's something I want to read after they say. They said it's a common experience. They see it every day where the memory of Peugeot will just wipe off, and they need to reprogram it before it will work. See, let me put it in a very straight way, bluntly. Don't let that person touch your car anymore. Whoever that made that comment, whether it's your mechanic or the person who did that scan, do not allow that person to touch that car anymore. It must be a crime. No, very seriously, it must be a crime to say Peugeot memory will all of a sudden just wipe off. And I believe they are referring to the BSI unit. Or I don't even know. Are they referring to engine ECU? You just wipe off. What the crap. You can't, I don't know, sometimes you don't even understand some of this things. The reason why I'm asking you, do not let them touch your car again. It's not because what they said don't happen. Yeah, some people have all these kind of experiences where their car is so messed up. But these are people that are used to, are also, or probably contributing to these people that have these experiences. That's why I say don't let them touch it, because to them, if it's normal, it means they are actually the ones probably causing these issues. But of course, it won't wipe off. What will usually happen is, if it's a mobilizer issue, there are some wrong connection on a Peugeot 406 that it will get to a point, it will crash the BSI. So what will now happen is you will now need your access code to be able to re-synchronize the ignition key, your key with your BSI before it will accept it again. But if that's wiring wrong or abusive wrong connection is still there, it's just a question of time. It will crash your BSI again. It's the BSI that is crashing, not your key, not your engine ECU. That's in the terms of so-called wiping off. It's your BSI that is you say you're a technical, so you understand what I mean. Once there's a too much power surge, this and that, wrong information being sent, or wrong connection that is messing up one diode, IC, or something inside it, will get the point, it will just crash and stop responding. So using that is just to reactivate it. Once it's saved, you even yourself, you said it, you understand it better than them. Once you put it, it's not like I said, the code there is already there permanently. So using it is just because what you usually do, it will just reset, you won't accept it again. So then you synchronize it with the key. If you put, for example, let's just say, oh, okay, it will just wipe off. Wiping off means if you bring another access code that is not meant for you to accept it, it won't work. It must still be that same access code that the BSI is meant for, or that has been coded into the BSI, that when you do it again, it will accept it and your car will start, pending when it crashes again, because of the mess people do on their Nigerian vehicle. It can be very interesting, some of these claim people are making. It would have been different if I did not own a 406 myself. They say, maybe since you don't own it, how would you know? Honestly, seriously. Okay, so please don't listen to them. Avoid using those guys shouldn't near your vehicle. Whoever that may have that kind of belief, or seriously believed, or from this thing, just look for somebody else or other technicians, someone that knows what he's doing. What do you think, for my narration, do you think the issue with my car right now is the wire guys have said, should I allow them to remove the ECU, BSI, and brain box and use another car? Is that suggestion, the only time it will make sense is to find out if the issue is with this component that they want to remove, the ECU, the engine ECU, the BSI unit, and the key. To know if they put it in another vehicle, if the issue is with these three components, the same thing will happen. Period. That in other words, they just to eliminate that this is not where the problems are coming from. But not that they will put it there. If it was, they put it in your own, it will start working. No. So yeah, if you want, you can allow them, let them go ahead and try it another vehicle, but not to make it work when they bring it back. No, to know if it's there, so that if it starts from another vehicle, you will now know that your problem is not these three components, that your problem is with something, your wiring system, your BS, whatever, something that communicate with, that allow communication between these three things. That's where the problem is, which will be your wire, the fuse box, or something there. There's something terrible preventing these three things to work. But this thing that your ECU is not responding when they put their scanner could also mean your ECU is fucked already. But it could also be there's it's communication somewhere. That's why it's not responding. So maybe when you restore that whatever that is stopping the transmission or the signal from any of these things, then it will start responding again. So yeah, it may. That's what I say. If you want to let them to, but understand that if they need to do it correctly by disconnecting the instrument panel of the one they want to test it on, so it doesn't affect your mileage. You have to disconnect, remove the instrument panel, connect what they need to connect on the other car, start it. If it starts, then they can remove it, put back the other vehicles components, and connect the instrument panel. If you don't do it, if they connect it and start the vehicle with start the vehicle with your own BSI in another vehicle with the instrument panel still connected, it will mess up your mileage. Like what in other time you see some phones is reading 99999 or double your mileage or stuff like that. Those are usually the cause. Unless your own mileage is already messed up already, so in that case, but then it doesn't have to mess up another person's mileage. I'm talking about the test vehicle now. Okay, so something else to say there. I forgot to last week I parked my Peugeot somewhere. I went to buy stuff. So I began to press the remote control. I couldn't notice my car. So I went to another phone but I thought it was mine. Pressed the remote control. When I didn't respond, I used my key manually. I opened the phone door. No, it's not possible. No, I'm telling you, you might say, but you experience it. No, it's not possible. For the phone you can't open the door with another key. I'm telling you, it's not possible. No matter how you want to say it, yes, I was not there, so there's no way for me to say. But as your mechanic, it is not possible. Why could the only thing I'll tell you is probably that car was not locked. The worst thing, what you to be doing if you slot in another key that is not as identical, that's not the key for that vehicle. That very vehicle, not just any point. What you do is you just be going 360. Your key with that key will just keep turning and turning and turning. You won't be able to open the door. So it's not possible. You can't open another 406 with another 406 key. It is not possible. I'm telling you. We've been dealing with Peugeot for years to know how secure. When it comes to security, you see, it's very difficult to break when it comes to Peugeot security, starting with 406. So no, that one don't even go there. It's not possible. So just have it at the back of your mind that the key, or the door was probably open. All you did was just slot in the key. Thought you opened it. You didn't. Manually, it's not. Even via remote cell. Like you say, you tried the remote, it didn't open. So your key did not open that door. As normally, if let's assume the door or the lock was okay, in good condition, everything, your key cannot open that door. That is not your own phone system. It's not possible. Okay, so I know the memory loss. No, it didn't cause the memory loss. The only thing it might do is if you stand very, but seriously, you can't tell me that you know your car. I mean, come on. It doesn't matter how many. No matter even if I come out and see Peugeot 406 with about 5 or 6 of them line up where I parked my own with the same color. We all have the same color of car. That's not how I not know my car now. Even if it's at night. I mean, you know your car, you know your car. You just, there are a few things, no matter even something on the body will make it very peculiar to you. You know, they can't all be the same. The way will be different. Something, I mean, come on. Okay, so like I was wanted to say before, the remote control, when you start too far from the polyphosis and press the remote several times, what will happen is it will wipe out the program on the remote. So you do no longer work with the vehicle. So in that case, you have to reprogram it. You don't need a scan tool or something, any device to do that. You just slot it in your this thing, do the normal thing, the remote to start, you synchronize again with the vehicle. So that's the only thing you could do, which is the remote control of the phones. It's not the transponder. It has nothing to do with that. So it's not the cost of what you're going to now, that you sorted it in a manual door lock and they affect your memory. No. Like I said, he didn't even say what is he showing you all this while. He didn't say, because if it's they affected the memory on your transponder, it will show you mobilizer sign. If you switch on ignition, it will show you that key sign on the instrument panel. And also show read it also on multifunction display. But he didn't say anything, you know. So it has nothing to do with your transponder. Or has nothing to do with because you put your key in another vehicle manual lock opening. No, has nothing to do with that. So now finally, so your challenge, what do you do? See, the truth is your car is a mess. You know, like I said, I want to be blunt. There's no need trying to sugarcoat it, so because you keep wasting your money. Your car is a mess mechanically and electrical. It's from everything you said, the is you know, this person coming, doing some connection on the ECU, this one call, do some connect. It's likely you may end up changing that your engine wiring harness. It's as simple as that. And you may also end up changing your engine ECU. Depending on which, maybe if you could buy a new one or buy a used one, in that case, buy complete kit, ECU, BSI unit, and the kit. I don't know the state of your fuse box. I don't know what type of fuse box, because if we are now sure truly is 2000, then your fuse box is not the plug and play type, it's the van box type. But nobody knows, because you are saying is this person is saying is this. So I wouldn't know which type of fuse box is there. The one in the engine bay, you know. So I don't know what is causing your car not to start now, but like I said, is in a very big mess, electrically and mechanically. You know, the mechanically may not be the cause of the reason why your engine not starting, because your mechanical, your engine will not stop your engine ECU from responding when you plug in a scan tool. But in this case, it's not responding. So this one is an electrical issue on its own. Your engine probably is bad because it's bad, it's smoking. That one is different. But it won't stop the car from, it won't stop your engine ECU from doing its work. So honestly, you need an expert in this case. You need an expert to handle that your car. Stop using all this work. But then you have to be willing to spend. For example, someone like me, if I come, I won't do any kind of manage. Let's do no. If I look at your engine wire and I'll tell you go and look for another, you have to buy another engine wire. And I won't even do any let's cut and no another one. Please period. But my only concern is now is where will you even find? Because most of the ones they sell have also been messed up. The one they remove from scrap vehicle. So getting one that is still in good condition, that have not been tampered with, is also a big challenge on its own. Could take days, weeks, months before you find one. The only thing sometimes we do is to look for one that even if they push out or cut something, it will just be one or two wires that one can easily reverse or connect back. You know, that's all. But once they mess it up like some of the ones I see in the market, car could park for a long time before because changing out put another issue without fixing what is called kill the other one is it's not easy, even penny wise powerfully. I don't even know how to put it. You know, knowing that something killed the other one. So do you expect that thing not to kill this one again? Without fixing or dealing with what killed the previous one. You know. So you need an expert on that your vehicle, which you ever have to start with your electric car first. It may cost you huge amount of money or little, I don't know, because right now nobody knows what exactly is wrong. All these things they are telling you, they are just crap, because none of them has anything to do with your car. What do they mean? They take it to another vehicle. Once it's started to start on your own. There are so many things I've never heard in Nigeria that sometimes when you hear them, you just wonder what kind of species are we when it comes to car maintenance, honestly, and repairs. So, I don't know, that's the truth. That's the truth. Stop wasting your money on that car until you can afford an expert to look at it. So they tell you the honest, what will it cost you? You don't start spending until it tells you, see, what will it cost to get your car in good condition again. Probably better than even when you got the car. So I look at it, if it's not worth it, you probably may need to start saving up for another car. Because your car, I've not seen it, but from all this description, it's severely abused. These are the kind of cars when I'm searching for a car for a client. Once I see that, I won't even bother to even ask you how much, not to think of what are the issues, to even check the car. Once I see the car, I walk away, straight away. Because the cost of fixing some of these things can as well buy you a very clean one. That probably the only thing you could do is just one or two things. So it's a very issue. I mean, if you have to change the engine wiring harness, not too expensive though, but it will be expensive if truly your car was spam production, because those wires are not even available. Ask your mechanic, if truly your car is spam production, you won't even see them. You won't even see it in the market. Very expensive when you find them. Same with the engine ECU. Ask him if truly your own is spam. It's not even very easy to find. The ones that you usually see in the market will be the EW7. When you say your own is EW7, so okay, makes sense. But they're also expensive. Costs more than the 2001 production. So honestly, yeah, that's the truth. I'm not going to, like I said, I won't sugarcoat the worst. So stop wasting your money. Find a specialist that will come, look at everything, tell you what it will cost to fix your car back. And don't expect something cheap, because if the person is trying to see whether he can manage this, manage that, do that, then I don't know the level of the degree of expert he is, because once you start doing this cut and join this and that, so take this, just a question of time. You are going back to square one, or you will create more problems. So I wish you the best. That's the thing, and let this also be like I said, an eye opener to people who just go out there to buy a car on their own, because they believe that why will you pay somebody else who understands this thing better than you do? Why will you pay that person to go and prevent this kind of nightmare for you? Because you find someone a cheaper one, or it looks nice because they package it well, then you buy, only for you to every now and then you are going to issues, spending money, and same thing keep happening, or worse thing keep happening. Anyway, we all have our choices to make, and live with the consequences. Okay, so that's all I have for this video, and hopefully my advice will make sense to you. Find an expert. It may not be available. Find somebody else. I don't know. If you're in Abuja, there are so many of us here in Abuja. And then, what can take it to a dealership? Take it to ASD Motors or Culture Motors. Let them do their diagnosis. Tell you if it's something that's too much, you go and take back the car or sell it off. I don't know. Start looking for another one. Or you take your time, save up the money and fix it, and now maintain it the way it's supposed to be, rather than calling quacks to come and do this and create more problem for yourself.